Why would a pea-sized gland, hidden in the center of your brain, be called by René Descartes the seat of the soul? Why did ancient cultures represent it as an all-seeing eye? And why does modern science insist on reducing it only to the production of melatonin? There is a secret that Rudolf Steiner whispered in his most intimate lectures and that Steiner Bentov discovered through the most advanced science of his time. A secret about a small gland in the center of your brain that may be the key to uniting thought, emotion, and vibration into a single transformative force. Steiner called the pineal gland a spiritual organ. Bentov discovered that it vibrates at specific frequencies capable of altering states of consciousness. Together, they revealed something extraordinary. When you learn to synchronize thought and emotion through the proper vibrational frequency, your higher consciousness awakens naturally. If you feel that something more is waiting to be activated within you, if you seek not just knowledge but true energetic transformation, then stay until the end of this video. I will reveal how this inner geometry of consciousness works and, more importantly, how you can begin to experience it today. Like this video if you recognize that your spiritual journey is ready for a new level of depth. And subscribe to the channel because what you are about to discover can change how you understand your own vibrational nature. The truth is that you carry within you an organ that works like a cosmic antenna, capable of tuning into frequencies your rational mind cannot even imagine exist. Rudolf Steiner knew this. Steiner Bentov proved it. But this knowledge was fragmented, hidden among esoteric texts and scientific research that few ever connect. Steiner, in the early 20th century, spoke of supersensible worlds accessible through the development of latent spiritual organs. Bentov, decades later, using state-of-the-art equipment, demonstrated that the pineal gland resonates at specific frequencies during altered states of consciousness. Two paths, one discovery. Your pineal gland is much more than conventional medicine admits. When thought and emotion enter vibrational coherence, your pineal gland activates a subtle field that connects you directly to higher consciousness. Have you noticed how deep insights arrive precisely when your mind stops struggling and your heart becomes still? That is your pineal gland working as it was designed to work, like a bridge between the limited consciousness of the ego and the expanded consciousness of the soul. You do not need to seek spiritual awakening outside yourself. You need to learn how to consciously activate what already exists within you. Rudolf Steiner was not just a philosopher. He was an investigator of invisible worlds, someone who developed the ability to directly perceive supersensible realities. And when he spoke about the pineal gland, his words carried the weight of lived experience, not just theory. For Steiner, the pineal represented a spiritual organ that humanity once actively possessed and that gradually became latent. He described how, in ancient times, this organ allowed for a natural perception of the etheric worlds, a direct connection to dimensions beyond the physical. But here is what few understand about Steiner's view. He did not see the pineal as something static. For him, this spiritual organ could be consciously reactivated through what he called inner development. Not by chance, his practices included specific exercises for harmonizing thought and feeling. Steiner taught that when you are able to keep your thoughts clear while cultivating pure emotions, something extraordinary happens in the region of the pineal. He described this as an inner luminosity that allowed the perception of what he called the etheric body, the vital energy that animates all physical form. Interestingly, Steiner spoke of spiritual geometry decades before Bentov discovered specific geometric patterns in brain activity during altered states. For Steiner, the pineal responded to precise energetic configurations, forms of consciousness organization that created openings for higher perceptions. When you learn to stabilize your inner energy, when thought and emotion stop fighting each other and begin to cooperate, you are creating exactly the conditions that Steiner identified as necessary for the awakening of the spiritual organ. Steiner Bentov was an inventor with an insatiable curiosity. He could not accept that altered states of consciousness were just imagination or suggestion. So he decided to place electrodes on the brains of experienced meditators to see what was really happening inside. What he found fascinated him. During deep meditation, the brain did not simply relax. It began to vibrate in organized waves, as if it were a musical instrument finding its perfect tuning. And these waves always originated from the same region, exactly where your pineal gland is located. Bentov realized something even more extraordinary. When a person entered deep states of inner connection, their pineal gland began to vibrate at the same frequency as the earth. It was as if you had an inner antenna that, when properly tuned, connects you with something much greater than yourself. He discovered that people with higher spiritual development had one thing in common. Their brain waves organized into more harmonious patterns during meditation. It was as if the evolution of consciousness left a visible energetic signature. Bentov also noticed that when thoughts and emotions came into harmony, pineal activity increased dramatically. It was as if this small gland were designed to function as a bridge between your inner world and broader dimensions of reality. The most impressive part is that Bentov was scientifically measuring what Steiner had described spiritually decades earlier. The pineal truly functions as an organ of higher perception, capable of tuning into frequencies your ordinary mind cannot reach. When you experience those moments of total clarity, when everything makes sense for an instant, your pineal gland is working exactly as Bentov discovered it can. There is a secret that both Steiner and Bentov touched upon, but that few have fully understood. Your pineal gland does not work alone. It is the third vertex of a sacred triangle that includes your mind and your heart. And when these three centers come into energetic alignment, something magical happens. You are facing a difficult situation. Your mind analyzes all possibilities. Your heart feels the emotional truth. And suddenly a clarity arises that came neither only from thought nor only from emotion. Came from a deeper, wiser place. This is your pineal gland operating as the center of higher consciousness integration. Steiner taught that spiritual development happens when you learn to harmonize what he called clear thinking with pure feeling. Bentov discovered that this harmonization creates a specific vibrational frequency that activates the pineal in an extraordinary way. Two paths, one truth. Coherence between mind and heart awakens your spiritual organ. But here is what most people do not realize. When your mind is restless or your emotions are in turmoil, your pineal remains dormant. It only awakens when there is synchronization between the centers, when thought and emotion vibrate at the same frequency. This is why deep insights arrive in moments of inner stillness. Not because you stop thinking or feeling, but because thought and emotion found a harmony that allows the pineal to function as it was designed, as an antenna of higher consciousness. When you can keep your thoughts organized while cultivating elevated emotions such as gratitude, compassion, or reverence, you are creating the ideal conditions for this sacred triangle to activate. And it is in that moment that the vibration of your consciousness expands naturally. Now you will experience and practice how to synchronize thought, emotion, and vibration to activate your pineal gland, uniting Steiner's teachings with Bentov's discoveries. First, find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Bring your attention to the center of your forehead, slightly above the point between your eyebrows. Do not force anything. Simply allow your awareness to settle in this area, as if you were gently awakening something that has always been there. Now comes the essential part. You will synchronize your breathing with a clear intention. With each inhale, allow a thought of clarity and purpose to arise. It does not need to be complex. It can be something like, I am awakened consciousness, or I connect with my inner wisdom. The important thing is that it is a crystal clear thought without doubt. With each exhale, cultivate a feeling of deep gratitude. Feel gratitude for this opportunity to connect with yourself, for having discovered this knowledge, for carrying within you this extraordinary spiritual technology. Let this gratitude completely fill your chest. Continue for a few minutes, inhaling with clear thought, exhaling with elevated emotion. You are creating exactly the vibrational coherence that Bentov measured in his laboratories and that Steiner described in his teachings. If you do this correctly, something will happen in the region of your pineal gland. It may be a sensation of expansion, a perception of subtle light, or simply a deep stillness unlike anything you have ever experienced. This is your vibrational frequency aligning with higher dimensions of consciousness. Practice this daily, even for just 5 minutes. You are literally retraining your nervous system to operate in states of coherence that naturally awaken your inner energy. What happens when you consistently practice this alignment between mind, heart, and pineal is something that Steiner called the development of new organs of perception, and that Bentov identified as permanent changes in brainwave patterns. Vibrational coherence is not just a temporary state you experience during practice. It is a deep reorganization of your energy system that begins to influence how you perceive and interact with reality in every moment of your life. When your pineal gland operates in consistent inner harmony, you develop what could be called activated intuition. It is no longer that occasional intuition that sometimes works. It is a stable ability to access information beyond what your 5 physical senses can capture. Steiner observed that people who developed this coherence began to perceive what he called etheric currents around others. Bentov discovered that this perception corresponds to the pineal gland's ability to detect subtle electromagnetic fields that we all emit, but that normally remain below the threshold of consciousness. It is as if you had spent your entire life using only a fraction of your conscious capacity, and now you finally had access to inner resources that were always available but needed to be consciously activated. This is the true key to energetic alignment. It is not about adding something new to you. It is about awakening and organizing abilities that are your natural inheritance as a conscious being. Steiner called it the subtle field, and Bentov identified it as dimensions of information that exist beyond physical matter. People who awaken this field begin to experience synchronicities consistently. They are no longer occasional coincidences, but a natural flow of meaningful connections that seem to organize life intelligently. This happens because your activated pineal gland can perceive patterns of information that exist even before events manifest physically. Steiner described this as the ability to perceive the intentions behind events. Bentov discovered that this perception corresponds to the pineal gland's ability to process frequencies carrying information about future tendencies, as if you had access to a broader organizing intelligence. When your subtle field is awakened, you do not just live life. You consciously participate in the creation of your reality through the vibrational quality you emit. Others can feel this in you, even without understanding what has changed. There is a clarity, a stability, a connection to something deeper that becomes noticeable. Your organized inner energy creates a field that positively influences everyone around you. You have come this far because you recognize that there is something more waiting to be activated within you. What Steiner intuited through spiritual investigation and Bentov confirmed through science is not just knowledge. It is an invitation to a new way of existing. When you integrate these discoveries into your daily life, when you make vibrational coherence between mind, heart, and pineal a consistent practice, you are not just improving your personal experience. You are participating in a collective awakening of human consciousness. Each person who consciously activates their pineal gland, who learns to vibrate in frequencies of inner harmony, contributes to a morphogenetic field of higher consciousness that makes it easier for others to awaken as well. Steiner spoke of this as the spiritual evolution of humanity. Bentov saw it as a fundamental change in the energetic organization of our species. The practice you learn today, the understanding of how thought, emotion, and vibration integrate through the pineal, is only the beginning. Each day you dedicate a few minutes to this alignment, you are literally reprogramming your nervous system to operate in higher dimensions of consciousness. If this content awakens something within you, if you recognize the truth behind these discoveries, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Leave a comment sharing your experience with the practice. When you express your discovery, You strengthen your own vibrational field and inspire others who are on the same path. The new vibrational reality is not a distant future. It is a present possibility that you can begin to experience right now.